It's 94.7 Blair Radio, and want to say thank you to RVR Bank for being fantastic sponsors of our nonprofit news, bringing us information about what's happening in Blair, Washington County, and the surrounding area. And somebody that has been very involved in Washington County and the surrounding area, Jason Cloud, is joining us, and former president of the Washington County Fair. Now you're on the foundation.
Correct. Yes. Thanks for having me, Kelly. So my term was up in December as president of the Washington County Ag Society, the Fair Board, and knowing we've been working for a long time on what we're going to do to kind of strategically move the fair forward. I had served on our 501c3, the Friends of the Fair, since its inception in about 2012, but wanting to get more involved in that, wanting us to get that in a place where it could help the fair. It seemed like the right time to make that transition. And so now I'm the president of the Friends of the Fair, or our foundation for our fair.
Wow. So congratulations, just moving on, a different position, but still really impactful for the fair and what's going on.
Absolutely. I think, everyone that spends some time at the fair, your heart grows into that, growing up around it, your kids showing, whatever it is, you just become a part of what a great place in the community. Everyone gathers there in the summer, and so wanted to very much stay a part of it, but wanted to find a way to, last year in our election, we had more people wanting to get on the board than we had open spots. Mm-hmm. So this year when my term was up, it's like, let those new people, the new ideas come in. I spent 17 or 18 years on the board. That's long enough. Let the new ideas come in, but let me take that passion that we've built and our other foundation members or the Friends of the Fair board and put our hearts and souls into helping raise some money. And so that's really how we got to where we are today. Yeah.
Well, and it takes money to be able to keep a fair going, obviously.
Yes, that's our biggest struggle from probably since 1918 when the fair started. Yeah. Let's face it. I mean, we every year, when I started 18 years ago, it's like, do we have enough money to put on a fair? Let's set enough money aside to put on an extra fair. If we ever had to, we were fortunate enough to get enough money to build a building, which is now the RVR Arena, back in 2010. But we went into debt, and we then suffered with debt over the years with other things that happened, like floods and COVID and others. And so it's like, how do we help the future fair boards put on a great fair without that burden of the financial, or at least to help support that financially? And so that's really the goal, for sure.
Right. Well, and you talk about different things. It's not just those one-offs that happen, a flood or things like that, but it's every year there's a maintenance issue. You have to come in, the buildings have to be taken care of or redone or something like that. And so looking at the future, you guys, I've driven by, and there's a lot of change going on.
Yes, the infrastructure obviously has aged over the course of time, and there's many times I go back and think about fair boards over the decades, but putting in power, and then it was all overhead, eventually needing actual city water to come in, and that was a huge expense that happened that wasn't necessarily as seen as a new building, but replacing all the wiring going underground this year has cleaned up the fairgrounds. That was a project that started right after the 2019 flood, but it looks so much different, removing all the overhead wiring. The buildings that were put up are buildings that the sheep and hogs are in were built in the 1920s. You can't continue to maintain a wood stick building forever. And so we have to look at replacing buildings when that happens to keep the fair viable. But then the next set of buildings were built in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and those buildings need lots of maintenance every year. And so finding the right ways to keep those buildings alive and thinking about what the fair will be in the future takes more than just the 9 people that are putting on the fair every year. Yeah. Our Friends of the Fair are wanting to help support that, and I think we're working really well together, and we're getting some momentum in building that strategic plan and moving the fair forward without the burden of, do we have enough money to put a new roof on or to fix the wiring or whatever that might be.
Right, and like you said, it's always budgeting. How do you budget to be able to do these other things and still keep the fair going and make it viable? And so that is... Again, is that trend growing? Because we've seen in the past, we see other fairs dwindle, and it's hard to see.
Might be one of our biggest fears, right? Of having a fair that doesn't sustain. And I think if you look over the years, the Washington County Fair has thrived and fallen. Events change, the number of livestock shown. You have to keep evolving. I give a lot of credit to our livestock auction and bringing some youth a little more opportunity with that auction to make that happen. That's one evolution piece that's happened in our time. But if you back up into the 1980s when the rodeo came, doing some of the nightly entertainment that isn't necessarily the first thing you think of with kids in the fair. But I tell you what, my kids love it.
Yeah.
And as teenagers and college age kids, that's what keeps them coming to the fair is that nighttime entertainment.
Yeah.
Not always necessarily the 4-H exhibits and the shows, but the nighttime entertainment is part of it, and we have to keep evolving that to what people want to see while keeping our tradition and being there for the 4-H, for the youth, finding the right things that keep people coming. And that takes evolution. It takes young people being involved and on our board. And I think some of the fair boards across the country or across the state and further, you get stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
And so anyway, change is part of what creates that. And also being able to fund it, right? That's why we're here. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is, you can get stuck in this is the way I remember as a kid.
Yep.
And so that is not necessarily what reaches out to everybody now.
So true.
And so, but the nighttime events that you guys put on, it's meant to bring in people that normally wouldn't go to the fair anyway.
Right. It's so awesome to see people that had no idea we had a fair until they showed up at a concert or somebody told them about the demo derby or tractor pull, and now you see them year after year. Yeah, that's just awesome.
And so those events are massively, people come to them. So
yes,
the concert kicking off, the concert Friday night.
Yes, Vincent Mason. We're looking for a big crowd. It looks like we're going to have nice weather. You hate to say it, but the fair is a little bit about weather too.
It is.
Anyway, but we're going to give a little plug to the fair and get into kind of while we're here. But we're looking forward to an awesome fair. Lots of traditional things, but kick off on Friday night with the concert. We have the rabbit and poultry show on Saturday, horse show Saturday, dairy show. Then Saturday night, rodeo kicks off.
Yeah.
Sunday, we start everything all over again like we have for so many years. The sheep and goat show, volleyball, mimosas, and Bloody Mary bar, 4-H pancakes, and we could go on a long time. Rodeo again Sunday night, Monday polls, Tuesday polls, Wednesday's demo derby, Wednesday's auction, the other livestock shows those days. So it's going to be an awesome fair. I was actually at the fair board meeting last night talking about our fundraising, but told the board they're doing an awesome job. We've got new people on there, but a lot of folks that get it and are putting it together. So we are looking forward to next week being a fantastic week.
All right. So now let's talk about the building projects you guys are doing. So again, the RVR building was built in 2010.
Correct.
Was that the last big project that's visible?
Right. Yep. When the RVR building was built, we replaced what was the show arena and the dairy and some of the other livestock were in that building. It was in disarray. We put in that huge building, moved our beer garden into there, kind of stepped things up, and the show arena. And that was a big lift back then. I had to borrow some money. A lot of dynamics changed because of the floodplain and raising that. Now, really what we're looking at is taking a very similar building to that and putting it just east of the RVR building, moving the livestock arena or the livestock show arena out of that building into this new building, along with hogs and cattle and dairy, or hogs, beef, and dairy. And then in the RVR building, we can open that up. Okay. We're thinking things, and the board's still deciding. We have a year to go here, a fair to go, I should say. But things like the kids' tractor pull, we overwhelm our Riben building, maybe even wine tastings, and those kinds of things into the RVR to open up that RVR building for more social things and food events and that type of thing. So anyway, moving that out, opening up the RVR building, this new building to replace the most dilapidated buildings on the grounds, which are the oldest buildings. Anybody that's drove by has seen we've already moved a couple of the buildings. Yeah. So that building project really is entailing several phases. The first one underway, moving the South Ag and the old goat barn over on the north side of the road. Then from really the hog barn all the way down to the poultry barn will be this new livestock arena, or ag pavilion as we're calling it. And we're fast underway. The building has been ordered. So there's no turning back now.
The papers have been signed and away you
right.
go.
Yes.
So really the arena and then the animals will be contained within the building then too.
Correct. And there's a safety aspect to that. Certainly a a safety aspect of animals walking across the fairgrounds now that's uncomfortable, and we've had very minor but incidents in the past. It also will allow us to have a more open building with better airflow, better for the animals, better for the spectators to come and see the animals. And then having that in that arena building will just move things along quicker. Right. Better communication, better shows. I will leave off, and we think of the arena, anybody who's listening and been to the Washington County Fair, the arena today will look much the same size, but we will have restrooms and a shelter area. So the restrooms will be built out of cinder block and concrete ceilings, and kind of be a place to go in case we need shelter too. That'll have a hallway area and just a larger area, so some more safety beyond animal safety, but weather safety and that kind of thing in this building also.
And so it's actually going to have more of the feel that like what they built over in Grand Island then.
A little bit. We've used that as reference, and we've used many of the newer arenas in the eastern part of Nebraska and all the way out to Grand Island to talk about that, but a little bit. I hate to compare it because we're not of that stature, but
not that size, but
it'll have that big open feel. The pens will be modular. If we have more dairy one year, we can add a couple of pens. If we have more hogs, we can move some pens around there. Where today we're pretty restricted because of what we have. So we feel that it's built for the future.
And that's the idea, is building it for the future. So then it comes back around. You've signed the papers. The checks have to be written.
Yes.
You need the funds.
Yes. So we started a funding campaign about the time that I had gotten off of the fair board, and we really kind of started meeting regularly, the Friends of the Fair, concentrating on this, taking our existing members. We have 9 members of our Friends of the Fair, and choosing Jeff Warren, who's one of our board members, to be the funding chairperson, and then getting that funding campaign together. All of us board working together, and Jeff kind of overseeing that. We've gone out into the community and looked for and been successful at raising some money, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And so it's been very wonderful to hear the folks who have interest, those who have given. Our campaign can include 1 year or even multi-year giving to help support that and put it together. We actually, Kelly, specifically, and we can talk more about the overall dollars and those things, but we had a community member here in Washington County come to us and was willing to give us a large donation of $250,000, but asked us to match it.
So you have to raise $250 to get the $250.
Yes, this is pretty fresh.
Yeah.
But we've put together a thermometer, and at the fair you'll see me, probably other Fair Board members as well as Friends of the Fair members standing around a poster and just going around and visiting with people. But we really are looking for anyone who can help us, and we would love to try to match that at the fair to get us a heck of a lot closer to our total project amount.
Is there a time frame or a limit when that has to be done?
No. So our donor just set out the challenge to us.
Okay.
And we said, we've, like any project, there's additional things that are happening. And so I met him over at the fairgrounds, and we walked around a little bit, and drainage is a big issue. And so we have all this roof now that used to be dirt, a lot more concrete. And so we have had a drainage study done. We actually have a civil engineer. All of those things are adding costs. But anyway, to figure out how to flow this, and we're going to need a lot of concrete, and it's going to add a couple $300,000 to the project. And he said, I'll help you with it, but I know you guys aren't done fundraising. I know there's others in the community that if we would ask, we could get there. So if we don't do that, if we don't get to it at the fair, we're going to keep asking, looking, and we'll match as much as we can. But we think that seeing it at the fair, having our drawings up, and seeing the progress that we've made, this is an excellent place to go after and to seek if there is other folks willing to help us out there.
And that's going to be important because if people can actually see what it's going to look like,
yes,
the concepts and everything
like
that.
So we've got some big prints. We have a 3D rendering, and we have flyers that we'll have up as well, or people can take with them. But a 3D rendering of the front of the building, which is similar to the RVR now, but then also inside, just to see the pens, the openness, and how that will all come together. And quite frankly, the fire requirements and the safety is just so much different than the buildings that we're in today. While we think, do we need all of that for a building that's used 6 days a year? Code says so, and we want to have people be safe, and so here we are.
Well, and plus, it's not necessarily just 6 days a year. You guys rent facilities year-round.
Yes. So, one of the things about this and moving the arena out of the RVR building is to help that which has become the largest, or at least one of the largest, but the largest facility for rentals in the county, to open that up for more rentals. We have to shut that down to build the arena. We fill dirt in there and make it filthy dirty. So that facility will be more of the wedding venues and rental facilities, everything from the Cattlemen's annual event and Pheasants Forever to trivia nights, and then all the weddings and graduations and those things that happen in there. The new building will be more of a livestock facility. We look forward to having jackpot shows or maybe progress shows throughout the year for folks who want to bring in their animals that they want to resell for 4-H shows. We have some cattle auctions that happen in off season. They could be set up in there and be able to show inside or to show off the purebred animals and those kinds of things. So yes, we see this facility being used outside of the fair, building it just for that, a spot for the community, and also a way to offset some of the costs, right, with rentals and things that can happen.
Sure. And so let's go back to what it is.
Yes.
What is the total? What do you guys need to raise to be able to make sure that the fair and the fair board doesn't go into debt?
Correct. And so in the beginning, and our published information says $2.2 million is the price of that building. Again, some civil engineering, a drainage study, and some other added pieces. And let's just face it, when we put together that budget, we're going on a year by the time we get construction going and all of that. Things are off a little bit. So we're really probably $500,000 north of that right now. We haven't rebuilt the budget, but we know what's there. And we're getting close to that $2 million mark on money that we've raised. So if you look at kind of where we're at, we need some help, but we also have done really good in getting there. A couple of large donors is awesome. The fair board has and is willing to take out a loan. That's part of getting this project done. Moving the buildings and those kinds of things are outside of this building cost, so they're taking on other expenses to make all of this happen. And that's just, part of how that project comes together. But we definitely are looking at, we're getting close. Yeah. If we can match this, we're within a few $100,000.
And then that way, again, if everybody gets together here and, coming up after harvest and tax season comes up, and if people are looking for places to be able to go, I'm sure you're always looking for,
I've talked about our Friends of the Fair. In 2012, we started that. We call it our foundation, but it is a 501c3. It's an excellent kind of tax relief way of giving, and I think folks understand that and know that if we're going to give to something that we care about, we'll absolutely take single donations, but we'll take multi-year. We're happy to take 2027 donations if that makes sense for you tax-wise. But a couple of things about that, Kelly. We put on the Washington County Fair website, which is WashingtonCountyFairNE.com, there is a Ag Pavilion tab at the top. You can click on that. You can donate right there. If somebody wants to give us $100 or $1,000, we'll take it. There's also the P.O. box where you can mail a check to. Our contact information, if you have questions, is on there. And then, of course, at the fair, we'll be talking to folks. We have pledge cards and ways to put that together. So it's very easy online, or certainly talking to any of us or stopping by the office at the fair.
Well, it's just another avenue, so I just want to put that encouragement out. Just like what we try to do here at Blair Radio with everything else going in the background, the focus is the future for youth and families and everything for Washington County and the surrounding area.
100% why we're doing it is the next generation, to have that be the place that they want to come to have it be something that everyone strives to be at and be a part of. Our fair is awesome. We got to do things to keep it awesome, and it's going to take investment. But it is for our future, for our youth. Again, for the future of the livestock programs, the showmanship and what happens in that building. But for the overall fair, this is going to be pretty awesome to see this big, shiny new building and a great place to come in and cool off and get air and shade and see your animals and your kids show and all that. So,
all right. Well, I look forward to seeing that, and I look forward to us all getting together, being able to raise the support. Yeah. If we can figure out a way and bring the funds in so nobody has to take a loan out, that is that guarantees the future.
That would be heart overwhelming. That would be so awesome if we can get to that stage. And again, I think we have a lot of hope for it. Certainly come out to the fair no matter what and see what's going on and get a part of it. So,
all right. Well, thank you very much for coming in and talking about this and making sure everybody's aware of what's going on.
Thanks for having me, Kelly.
So anytime, let us know if you have updates. keep us.
We'll keep you in the loop for sure.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.